Biomed Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR, 4 FDA approvals landed in a single week. Rhythm's Imcivree, hypothalamic obesity, J&J's Icotyde, oral psoriasis, Novo's Wegovy HD, high-dose obesity, and GSK's Lynavoy, PBC pruritus. That kind of density is exceptionally rare. Novo Nordisk's Wegovy HD, semaglutide 7.2 mg was the first GLP-1 approved under the CNPV program following a blazing 54-day review. It delivered 20.7% mean weight loss and launches in April across 7,000+ US pharmacies. Novartis dropped $2 up front, $3 total, on Friday to acquire Picovation's PI3K inhibitor program for breast cancer. This marks its 5th acquisition since the start of 2025. Eli Lilly's retatrutide Phase 3 data showed 16.8% weight loss with no plateau at 40 weeks, redefining the metabolic ceiling. Executive takeaway last week was the most consequential 5-day stretch for biotech in 2026 so far. 4 FDA approvals, a blockbuster Phase 3 readout, and a $3 billion M&A deal all landed between Wednesday and Friday. The undeniable theme connecting everything, the metabolic and immunology pipelines that Big Pharma has been meticulously building for years, are now converting into commercial products at an accelerating pace. The obesity space moved fastest. Novo Nordisk's Wegovy HD secured a 54-day FDA review under the CNPV program, delivering 20.7% mean weight loss and directly closing the efficacy gap with Lilly's Zepbound. Meanwhile, Lilly's retatrutide data showed 16.8% weight loss in diabetes patients at just 40 weeks with no plateau in sight. Outside of metabolic medicine, J&J cracked the oral IL-23 code, GSK secured the first PBC pruritus treatment, and Novartis wrote a $2 billion check for a PI3K breast cancer inhibitor. The deal pipeline is red hot. Read full analysis what to watch. Novo Wegovy HD launch April. Available across 7,000+ US pharmacies, including telehealth platforms and Hims & Hers. The 20.7% weight loss profile directly challenges Zepbound. Watch initial prescribing volume for early competitive signals. Rhythm commercial traction. Imcivree is available immediately for HO patients. The 42-person sales force has been deployed since October. Q2 earnings will be the first real read on commercial uptake. Rocket Pharma, March 28th, Kresladi PDUFA for Lady Eye gene therapy. Approval would include a lucrative priority review voucher. ACC 26, March 28 to 30. American College of Cardiology meeting in New Orleans. Watch for cardiovascular outcomes, data and cardiometabolic crossover presentations. Orforglipron, April 10th. Lilly's oral GLP-1 target action date. An approval gives Lilly 3 distinct metabolic mechanisms on or near the market. Today's top story Novo's Wegovy HD gets the fastest GLP-1 approval in history. What happened? The FDA approved Wegovy HD, semaglutide 7.2 mg, on Thursday, making it the first GLP-1 treatment cleared under the Commissioner's National Priority Voucher Program. The review took just 54 days from submission. The high-dose injectable is approved for adults with obesity who have tolerated the 2.4 mg dose for at least 4 weeks and need additional weight reduction. The data and demographics. The STEP-UP trial, 1407 adults with obesity, no diabetes, showed 20.7% mean weight loss at 72 weeks at the 7.2 mg dose, compared to approximately 18% with the 2.4 mg dose and roughly 2% with placebo. Closing this efficacy gap provides critical clinical optionality, particularly given the stark demographic realities of the disease. According to the CDC, U.S. adult obesity prevalence is highest among non-Hispanic Black adults, 49.9%, followed by Hispanic adults, 45.6%, and non-Hispanic white adults, 41.4%. The safety signal. Dysesthesia, altered skin sensation, was reported in 22% of Wegovy HD patients, compared to 6% with the 2.4 mg dose and 0.3% with placebo. This is the exact same signal showing up across the GLP-1 class at higher doses, including in Lilly's retatrutide data. Executive impact. This approval does two things simultaneously. First, it definitively narrows the efficacy gap between Wegovy and Zepbound. Second, it validates the CNPV program as a hyper-accelerated regulatory pathway. Novo expects to launch Wegovy HD in April through 7,000+ pharmacies, while the recent Hims & Hers partnership adds a massive direct-to-consumer channel. Oncology and rare disease. Novartis drops 3B for a breast cancer asset on Friday. What happened? Novartis announced on Friday it will acquire Picovation Therapeutics, a subsidiary of Sinovation Therapeutics, for $2 billion upfront and up to $1 billion in milestones. The asset. The deal gives Novartis SNV4818, a pan-mutant selective PI3K inhibitor, currently in phase 1/2 for HR+HER2, metastatic breast cancer, and other solid tumors. Executive impact. This is Novartis's fifth acquisition since the start of 2025. PI3K mutations drive roughly 40% of HR+HER2 breast cancers, but earlier inhibitors, like Piqray, had massive tolerability issues due to wild-type enzyme inhibition. Novartis is betting that mutant-selective chemistry can deliver efficacy without toxicity, keeping pace with Lilly's inavolisib. Genentech halts anti-myostatin program. What happened? Genentech, RHHBY, announced it will not advance emugrobart, an anti-myostatin antibody, into phase 3 for 2 muscle-wasting diseases after phase 2 results failed to show meaningful improvement in muscle growth. Executive impact. This is a major setback for the broader muscle biology field, where myostatin inhibition has been a compelling but consistently disappointing target. The failure underscores how difficult it remains to translate preclinical muscle biology into functional clinical endpoints. Clinical and Research Updates Week. Recap: Lilly's retatrutide and Rhythm's Imcivree, for readers catching up on the late-week flurry. Eli Lilly. Retatrutide delivered 16.8% weight loss and up to 2.0% A1C reduction in the Transcend T2D1 Phase 3 trial on Thursday, redefining the metabolic ceiling. Rhythm Pharmaceuticals. Imcivree was approved for acquired hypothalamic obesity on Thursday, with a much broader-than-expected label covering patients aged 4 and older. Both stories were covered in depth in our Friday edition. Corporate and Business Development. GSK's Lynavoy becomes first PBC pruritus treatment. What happened? The FDA approved GSK's Lynavoy linerixibat for cholestatic pruritus in adults with primary biliary cholangitis, PBC, making it the first drug ever approved in the US for this indication. The Gliston Phase 3 trial showed significant itch improvement by week 2, sustained through 24 weeks, P-001. Executive impact. PBC-related pruritus affects up to 89% of patients and has had 0 approved treatments until now. GSK had previously announced a licensing deal giving Alpha Sigma worldwide commercialization rights. GSK captures the regulatory milestone but hands off the commercial execution. Diarrhea was the most common adverse event, 61%, which could create real-world adherence challenges. Collegium acquires Azstarys for $650 million. What happened? Collegium Pharmaceutical agreed to acquire Azstarys, a prescription ADHD stimulant, from Corium Therapeutics for $650 million upfront, plus up to $135 million in milestones. The drug is approved for ADHD in patients aged 6+. Read full analysis Biomed Nexus Pro. Institutional Intelligence Briefing. Today's Pro. Brief: the obesity competitive matrix, where Wegovy HD, Zepbound, retatrutide, orforglipron, and oral Wegovy now sit relative to each other on efficacy and access. Novartis M&A pace, what 5 deals since 2025 tells you about their pipeline anxiety. Dysesthesia as a class effect. Why the 22% rate with Wegovy HD is the number every obesity investor must track. Upgrade to Pro today. Read full article. Selective 2026 sponsorship placements are available. Reply directly to discuss a partnership or submit an inquiry here.